Welcome to Mental Health Monday. My name is Mick Coyle. Coming up on the programme this week,
about mixing with the similar people who go through the same things as you do on a daily basis and just connecting with a family.
But importantly, it's about providing these services within the community setting, which is accessible and comfortable and informal.
They could feel like, I'm just coming down to play football or do walking football, and then subtly around that they've got access to supports, they've got access to counsellors if they want to, if they need to. It's not sort of rammed down their throat, it's just sort of there for when they need it as well.
And I'll be reminding you how you can make connections with mental health organisations within your community. It's Mental Health Monday. Yeah, and we are out and about for a festive edition of Mental Health Monday. Thank you for checking out the podcast. Thank you for your streams and your downloads. We are in Liverpool today, and we've got a special invite to, well, a sneak peek, if you like, of something we told you about on the podcast a few years ago now, actually. 4 years in the making, this conversation is, because we're here at Spellow Lane, near Goodison Park, the home of Everton Football Club, to get an inside scoop at what's going on behind the scenes at the People's Place. Now, this is going to be a community hub, a mental health hub at the heart of Everton's community, part of this run of buildings which are all about community spaces, community assets, and doing something, bringing something positive to the community through Everton in the Community, Everton Football Club's very own charity. So there's a lot to talk about today, and there's going to be a lot of noise as well. I'll just warn you about that too, because while I've been out and about, there's been scaffolding which has just come down on the building around the other side to where I am now, and also we've got people who are still building and working inside. There's a brief pause now, which gives us a little bit of a moment to speak. But throughout the conversations, you'll hear various things going on in the background. That's because this is very much still a live building site. But I've got me hard boots on. I've not had to wear a hard hat because it's not that dangerous. But I think either way, apologies for some of the background noise. And the lads are just over on the far side and just setting up for their five-a-side football team as well. So there's a chance you'll be hearing the ball smashing against the cages as well. So that's all to come. First and foremost, let's find out about what this whole facility is going to be about. Everton in the Community's Deputy CEO is Mike Saller. I put it to him that, well, the building at the moment currently looks nearly ready to go.
Yeah, it's been a long journey, but we are very close to opening up the People's Place, and if anyone's looking forward to it, it'll be fantastic. It'll be the final piece of the jigsaw for the Goodison campus. We've got the People's Hub next door, the Cruyff Court, and the People's Place to come in the next month or two.
It's hard to sort of put into words how much of a trailblazing service this will be. Not just within the city of Liverpool, but across the Premier League.
Yeah, it's the first of its kind in terms of having a purpose-built mental health and wellbeing hub aligned to a Premier League football club. It's the first of its kind, and that we're aware of nationally and also internationally. So it's something we're very proud of. But importantly, it's going to provide such a meaningful purpose service. Before COVID, we knew there were challenges with mental health services and that provision that was available, and certainly after COVID, against the backdrop of the cost of living crisis, the fuel poverty situation, something like this is needed more now than ever, and it'll be important for a number of reasons. One, it'll help to reduce the burden on current mental health services, particularly within the NHS. It'll help to build on our social value and also help to provide cost savings to the wider economy. And it's just great to see the transformation of the local community too. Over the last 10 years, there's been a patch of derelict land here, which now is being transformed into this fantastic facility, and it'll provide such an important purpose to the local community and beyond.
Are you ready for what might come your way in terms of demand? Because all the indicators are that this is going to be hugely in demand, and that the people who will come through your door will be people who live literally across the road. That there is, even within this postcode, there are enough people, I imagine, to fill every session you've got.
Yeah, we've done a lot of consultation with the local community, and we're aware of the challenges and the needs out there, and we're looking forward to opening the doors. And yes, there will be a lot of demand, but it's something that we're accustomed to that. Every time we've set up a new project, set up a new service, the demand has been huge. And recently we opened up a food pantry, and it turns out we're the fourth busiest food pantry in the UK. And it's great in one aspect that we're able to provide this service, but also it's a bit of a double-edged sword in the sense that it's a bit sad that this is the situation. But from our point of view, we can control the controllables, and that's what we're doing. In terms of meeting the demand, yes, we have done our research, and we've done a lot of consultation and partnership with Edgell University to understand the need as much as possible. And once it's opened, it'll continue to grow and develop, and we will provide support from these spaces and also externally too.
It's a big responsibility you take on under the banner of Everton Football Club as well. apart from what goes on a football field, to have such an interest in what goes on in your community says a lot about the ambition that you've got here as well. But it also shows that you've got to deliver, because people trust the name, don't they? And they'll go, well, this is my team or this is my community, so these guys have got to do right by me.
Yeah, absolutely.
No pressure like that.
But no, we've had that same situation for 30 plus years now, where over the years the brand of Everton and the community and Everton Football Club, they have become trusted brands, and people know they can come here and receive a best in quality service, and that's what we will continue to deliver. We won't set anything up unless we know it will be a best in class service, and we have a great team of staff here and volunteers, and we work a lot with different partners around the city region to make sure that we can provide the best service that we can do. We're aware of the risk involved, but we've never wilted from that vision to open up the People's Place or open up any of the previous buildings here. It's a need that has to be addressed, and if we don't do what we're doing, the situation will be a lot worse.
A lot of people will start to hear about this place, will have seen this place, and they'll be thinking, who's it for? Can I go? I think I know somebody who might benefit from going there, but what do I do? Do I have to wait? Does someone have to tell me to go? What's the rules going to be, if you like, about how people are going to be able to interact with this building?
Yes, the People's Place is deliberately for everyone. We hear often that 1 in 4 people will experience poor mental health each year. So absolutely, it's for the 1 in 4 people, but it's also for the 3 in 4 the 3 in 4 who have good mental health, because we all have mental health, and it's important that during the good times, but also position ourselves in a good position. We improve our mental health literacy, so if we do experience challenges, we're in a much better position to manage that, and also to pass on that message to family and friends. In terms of how you would get involved and access the services within the People's Place, you can walk in, it's a drop-in service, and access a different provision available. You can phone up, you can access it on the website or via email. So there's a whole range of different ways. We want to make it as accessible as possible.
And sometimes, just in terms of the language around this, people will hear about clinical versus non-clinical. Just explain how that works, because it's a big difference in terms of maybe what people experience when they go and see a GP, if you like.
Yeah. So we've designed the building in as much non-clinical way as possible to take that away, and we do have professional services available in the People's Place. We have our own Everton in the community GP, Dr. Chris Pritchard, his team of practitioners. We'll have psychological practitioners also available, but importantly, it's about providing these services within the community setting, which is accessible and comfortable and informal. One of the main areas within the building is the atrium, which is a large open space, a log burner in a sense. And the idea is that people can come in, they can feel at ease, they can feel comfortable. And it's also about improving people's self-worth as well. That people can come in here and this is for them. So yeah, we're very much looking forward to opening the doors in the next month, and just providing that important service that we can deliver.
Great to catch up with Mike, Deputy CEO of Everton in the community, and plenty going on. Now just stick my head inside. Let me just... Yeah, I think we're still quiet. While that building work does continue. Maybe it's tea break or something like that. The builders are still making this building come to life. Let me just describe it for you. So from the outside, it kind of looks like a community space, kind of like part library, but maybe part primary school. It's got this big curved frontage to it, which has got floor-to-ceiling windows. It looks really, really impressive, actually. It's called The Egg inside, and that's going to be a really central space. And then you've got these main spaces within the building itself, which are going to be used for various different things. People will be able to gather there. People are going to be able to talk there. And then there's these breakout spaces as well for all these different things that Mike's just set out, the things that are going to be going on within this community space. So it's a really sizable plot, but it's actually quite tightly squeezed in onto this Spellow Lane site. So it's going to be right in the heart of the community, really accessible as well, and accessible to a community, as we heard, which has got issues. We know that there are disadvantaged areas, disadvantaged families, people, young people, older people, who are actually going to be able to get here because it's within their community. It's at the heart of their community, and that's what Everton and the community are really focusing on with the work they're doing down Spellow Lane. Let's hear a little bit more about the benefits that it's going to bring. And the way we're going to do this is by speaking to the people who are actually going to benefit. One of them is Jake Mattox. Now, Jake's a really top guy. He himself has benefited from the work of Everton in the community, and he told me about what he hopes this building will be able to achieve and the fact that he wants it to be a huge success.
Rolling back the years since I've been part of Everton in the community, I actually started when I was in high school. I'm 26 now, so it's been a lot of years. It's just been an incredible journey, to be honest.
What is it that's sort of kept you involved? What is it about yourself and your own journey that's meant you've been sort of close to this project?
To be fair, like Everton and community is not just a football place to play football. It's a massive family, to be honest. I've been part of Imaginary Goals. To be honest, it's the main project I've been with, and it's a project that helps people with mental health and well-being. And it's just been an unbelievable journey. To be fair, I've travelled to places abroad to play football. I've won trophies all over our country, but it's not just about playing football. It's about mixing with the similar people who go through the same things as you do on a daily basis, and just connecting with a family. And that's what it is, just a massive family. We're all brothers and sisters, and we all just get each other. And if it weren't for Imaginary Goals, I really believe I wouldn't be where I'm at now.
In terms of Everton's commitment to projects like that, we've got this incredible building that's, nearly ready to open up as well. That shows the commitment, doesn't it, that the club has to projects like this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I first started Everton Community, they didn't have the People's Hub. Now they've got the People's Hub, the free school, and the People's Place. And it's all actually very incredible. Like, the opportunities that this People's Place is going to bring, not just to family of Everton Community, but the whole of Liverpool, the whole of the city. Like, it's going to have all kinds of opportunities for, like, jobs, people to go to and seek support, just to hang out. And, you know what I mean? It's just going to be another place where you can feel at home, where you can feel relaxed, and it's just going to be an absolutely brilliant environment for people like myself.
It obviously gives you an opportunity to play footy, and that's great with your mates and with people you don't know, but you've got sort of shared experience. What does it do for you? What for you sums up why Everton are really sort of getting it right with this People Place project?
I mean, look, I'll share a long story short with you, to be honest. Like, I suffered really bad with called episodes of stress, and like it kind of triggered something in my brain which led to me having some sort of like seizures, and it's all like stress related, and it come with that with a bit of depression and stuff. So I really struggled through like end of high school, early teens, late teens, going to adulthood. I haven't had them for a long time, which is the help of programmes like this, the help of the NHS, Merseycare, but ultimately it's because of places like this. I believe having something like this is unbelievable. Now I'm a father, I help out coaching a different football club called Merseyside Blind and VIFC. I've been doing my coaching badges, just completing my UEFA C licence. Life's looking really bright at the moment, and I'm just looking forward to see where my life can continue to be at, and it's all down to Everton and community.
People will be able to hear that there's still building work going on, and that was a truck going up behind us. But it goes to show as well, when people do walk through a door like this, or when people do engage with like a mental health service, that actually it's not just like a one-off. It can actually be the part and the start of a new way of life, something that can put you in a really positive place.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, as I said before, it's a great organisation, great for the community, great for the city. It's going to be a great project, this People's Place. And to be fair, we couldn't have done it without people donating. So anyone who's donated for such a cause like this, we just say thank you.
Really great talk, and great to hear from Jake on Mental Health Monday. We're at the People's Place, Everton's new community mental health hub. From Everton in the community, it's going to be opening in the new year, and there's so much going on. We've already heard from the Deputy CEO of Everton in the community, and just from Jake there, who's been a service user and now getting involved in all kinds of projects here across the Everton in the community campus. Let's get a little bit more now into the brass tacks of what goes on behind the doors, and also how you can get involved in a place like this. John Jones is the Senior Programmes Manager for People's Place, and he told me about what's going to happen when these doors open to the public.
The provision-wise, it's going to be in there behind the doors, like you said. So an overarching support provision programmes for anybody, depending on whether they've got poor mental health, positive mental health, poor physical health, good physical health, to offer them that provision of programme support, practitioners of regardless of age or location, to be able to access that when they need it, how they want to access it, in hopefully a sort of non-stigmatising environment, in an environment that they trust. It's non-authoritarian, it's relaxing, so that, like I said, they're able to access that mental health support how they want and when they need that. Sort of longer term, how that, I suppose, feeds into the bigger piece of the jigsaw is that everything that we'll be going through here we're always capturing the learning as part of that. So understanding the needs of the needs of the groups, needs of the community to inform the provision, but then hopefully the outcomes that we'll achieve from that, hopefully improved access to supports and positive mental health, to feed into the Goodison legacy and making sure we're meeting the needs of the community here in L4 and wider.
Obviously, this sort of whole mental health world is opening up for a lot of people, maybe for the first time, but essentially what you're describing there is a mental health drop-in centre, a place where you can, in your local community, step forth and go, oh, can I have a conversation with somebody, as the work continues behind us, can I have a conversation with somebody about this, or I think I might need to speak to someone about this, or maybe I've got a friend who might be able to, you could have a chat with them. That's a very modern way of looking at this sort of mental health provision within a community environment.
Yeah, that's it. It's hopefully sort of place-based approach, so a hub to house those existing programmes and new programmes that we've got. So hopefully people are able to offer or be able to access, as many pieces of the mental health toolkit as they can. So whether it is peer-to-peer support through a programme, we'll hopefully have a programme that we can support them onto. If they need one-to-one counselling, they'll be able to access that through the People's Place, through walking in, or like you say, through a referral from another organisation or a friend, or self-referral. Education and development as well, so whether that's mental health first aid or parenting skills or other areas around sort of strategies to maintain your positive mental health and wellbeing as well, that'll be in there as well as signposting and sort of partnerships with that as well. So we're very conscious that, I suppose, we're very good at getting people here through that non-stigmatising event, so we're conscious we want to wrap around as much as we can while they're in there, so hopefully through accessing one door they get that full wraparound support, which traditionally probably isn't available within the community, or might take 5, 6, 7 doors to try and access to get that support. So like I said, hopefully they'll be able to walk in, they can access a counsellor, but actually through those conversations there's a physical health problem or issue perhaps that they need support with, so we've got our GP who's based here, who'll be based in the building, they can go and see him. As with a lot of things, it's multi-need, complex sometimes. Okay, you might be able to need some support with housing or finance, so we're going to have sort of a Citizens Advice Bureau member based within here as well to offer that more social support as well. So yeah, very much a hub to be able to fill those different areas of the toolkit as much as possible.
And as well as the building where we've got the sound of football in the background as well, you've got the Everton Club crest on your chest as well. How important is it that Everton utilises that awareness, that sense of community, that brand, if you like, the fact that it's a local football with incredible heritage that pulls people through the door? Because I guess if you opened up a mental health hub that people didn't know, or put a brand on that people didn't understand, people might go, what is that? What's that about? The fact you've got Everton is a big responsibility, isn't it, that you take on, but it also allows people to step through a door thinking, well, it's Everton, so it must be all right.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely an element of trust that they have with the badge, they have with the club, they have with the charity as well. The track record of programmes for sort of around 30 years now, that they've developed that trust to feel comfortable to come to the programmes, to hopefully access that support as well. So yeah, it's really important that we use a brand as well, but also within the setting of the People's Place, the use of the club is that, again, it's hopefully makes it less clinical, if that's a word, sort of non-stigmatising. So depending on how they want to access it or how they feel, actually they could feel like, well, I'm just coming down to play football or do walking football, and then subtly around that they've got access to supports, they've got access to counsellors if they want to, if they need to. It's not sort of rammed down their throat, it's just sort of there for when they need it as well.
Every sign, every indicator, every postcode check on the mental health within a local area tells you that there is a need for a service like this. There is a big need for it, and there's a need for it probably in every single community up and down the country. Are you almost prepared for what might come through the door on any one day? I mean, you guys are trailblazing this to a certain extent in terms of the project that you've got up and running. Do you have, is there a goal in mind? Is there something maybe you hope to achieve in the first 6 months, year or so of the project, which will really summarise just how valuable it's going to be?
Yeah, I suppose because it's new and innovative, like you said, we're going to be learning along the way and as we go through. I think the first step, 6 months say, is that getting that foundation base of provision, so we're comfortable that if somebody does walk in, they've got that, okay, well, they can access programmes, counsellor, that foundation base of support. And then going forward, it's that, how can we develop that further? So looking at sort of more innovative, sort of larger impact programmes, whether that's around sort of ADHD screening, which we're looking to do in the new year as well, which can then have a big impact and hopefully replicated more widely as well. Conscious as well, I suppose we won't know until we open the doors, but I think it'd be a pretty educated guess that we are going to see a lot of sort of need, a lot of people wanting to access that, and an increase in people, not necessarily around solely mental health and well-being, actually just somewhere to come, somebody to speak to, somewhere to be. So it's making sure we're aware of that, we have enough in place, like I said, that foundation of support, but also sort of stitching ourselves into the community as well with other organisations. So we've got partnerships, we've got links to be able to support people externally as well. So if they might be in crisis, we can quickly signpost them to the support they need. So building partnerships with other organisations and charities to be able to meet that need as well is really important.
And you know, of course, everyone will ask, what if you're a Liverpool fan?
You're welcome. Yeah. Yeah, we're actually, I don't know whether it's surprising or not, there's quite a lot of participants on our programmes are Liverpool fans or whatever, United fans or whoever that may be. They make sure they wear the shirt to the session as well or some point, and that's, there's no sort of football allegiance as part of that. And actually often it almost works better sometimes, because it creates that something to talk about in the programmes. It breaks down that initial sort of barrier. There's something to perhaps take the mick out of each other during the sessions as well. So there's no postcode, no football allegiance, no age sort of boundary or restriction to that.
John Jones there. I told you, didn't I? I told you there was a live building site. We got through it, I think. We've got to crack on. Sometimes, I broadcast from all kinds of different places, and there's always things that are going on, and sometimes it's like drilling starts in one corner, and sometimes, there's like a fight breaks out in another corner. Not on this campus, by the way. It's very peaceful here and people are getting on very well. But all kinds of things can happen when you're out and about with a microphone, and we're getting the full sense of that today here on Spellow Lane. Everton in the community's new people's place, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be invited down here. But I just wanted to sort of end with this conversation really, because this is about people, and I think we got a sense of this from Jake before, that when we have community spaces, when we put mental health front and centre within a community, it gets such a positive community response. When we do things a little bit differently, it makes such a huge difference. A great example of this from Rod Horton. Now, Rod is such a lovely fella. Rod has got Parkinson's, but he's part of the walking football team here at Everton in the community, and he gets involved physical activity weekly, and of course with that physical activity comes that community conversation, getting people together, getting out of the house, and so on and so forth. So I had a chat with Rod, and he was such a nice guy. I wanted to bring you that conversation. I asked him how long he'd been getting involved with Everton in the community down here at the campus.
Well, it's just started, just been up and it's fantastic. Been doing the from farm side. On the old pitch there. Great coaches, and bring a good few lads down with Parkinson's, and they all benefiting from it. In some of different levels of Parkinson's, they have some of them are just been diagnosed, and some like me, I've had it for 16 years, and keeping fit is a key part of. Keeping on top of Parkinson's. If you don't keep exercising, it's going to drag you down. But this is great. It's unbelievable. Fantastic setup. I'm looking forward to getting on the gym setup in January, I think. So it's superb.
Obviously, when you get diagnosis of Parkinson's, you must have a million and one things that run through your mind about what life is going to be like. Could you ever imagine that it would involve you playing football, getting involved in things like this?
Years. I mean, I when I first got it, you're in a dark space, you don't know what to do. No one's telling you what to do. I mean, you wait for your medication for about 12 months. And it's a scary place, But what we're doing, I'm with we come in on a Monday, but I'm also a member of the Northern Lights. And we do all kinds for the community. We've got a panel going in Southport at the moment. And these are people with Parkinson's, they're doing all kinds of stuff. Honestly, it's great.
There's obviously a big focus in this sort of half of this section of this sort of like holy trinity of Everton buildings on Spellow Lane is focused on mental health. You've obviously looking after your physical health now, getting involved in the football. How important is it to keep on top of your mental health?
I think it's very important because things go through your mind, especially if you don't know much about what your illness is and what it can do to you. And this just takes the mind of everything. You go down the ball. They haven't got them Parisons. They're just playing football like anyone else. And it's great. Absolutely fantastic. You can't afford everything enough. You know, great people. You know, I'm going to look at them, yeah. Right in the middle of the city, dead handy for everyone. And they're looked after.
Good stuff.
By good professionals.
Good stuff, Rod. Well, good to see you involved in the session today. Were you playing? Were you walking football today?
Yeah, I've had my session.
Thank you, Rod. Appreciate it. I get to meet some really lovely people as part of doing this job, and Rod is absolutely one of them. So a real pleasure to catch up with him. We wish him all the best as well in terms of his footballing career at the Walking Football. Lovely guy. So that wraps up our conversation from the People's Place. I hope it's been good for you to get an insight into what's been going on behind the scenes. If you are living locally, you can access this. And I think it's also an example of maybe if you are based somewhere else and you're thinking, what could we do? How can we do things differently? And people are looking at ideas. It might be the sort of thing that you could mention. You could say, well, have you seen what Everton Football Club are doing through their Everton in the Community People's Place? Is there not something like that we can do where we are, wherever you are, wherever you live? Because I think it puts mental health at the centre of a community and gives people a place to go. If they've got questions, if they're not quite sure where to turn, come down to the place with the name, with a brand, with a badge that they understand, knowing that they can get help, that they can get support. And that's essentially what it's all about. So a real pleasure to be down here, real pleasure to get a sneak peek as well. They're hoping to have an opening by the end of January of early next year, and then a grand opening once everything's sort of absolutely up and running. So hopefully we'll be there live for that one as well from Mental Health Monday. I look forward to seeing people coming through the door and really getting a sense of what those opportunities for them will be and how they can get involved as well with Everton, the Community's People Place. I hope you've enjoyed this week's podcast. Thanks for checking out Mental Health Monday. My name is Mick Coyle. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Mick Coyle. You can also find me, Mick Coyle, on Facebook as well. Don't forget, if you want to speak to somebody about your mental health, you can do so. The Samaritans, free to call on 116 123. You can find mental health services where you are. Just look for the Hub of Hope. Type in your postcode. It'll find those mental health services close to you. And for support in a crisis, you can text SHOUT to 85258. That's if you're experiencing a personal crisis, you're unable to cope and need support. Shout to 85258. That's a text line. Do get involved in those services. In an absolute emergency, always remember the number to call is 999.